So good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Adejisola Atiba, Lady Abba. I will be your host and we will be starting, like I said, shortly. Usually we'll start with the Canadian anthem. Please feel free to stand, sit, or however you feel comfortable, and we will start. JJ, could you please do us the honors of playing the anthem? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, JJ. We know that Canada is the unceded land of the First Nations, and so we will be reading the land acknowledgement in both official languages, English and French. To read the English for us is Oriofoluwa Dimeji, a volunteer with CMP, a high school student. Oriofoluwa, please go ahead.
Thank you. In the spirit and the intent of the Truth Reconciliations Commission's recommendations, we acknowledge the traditional indigenous territories on which we gather at the beginning of all CMP meetings. By learning, understanding, and acknowledging, we wish to pay respect to Turtle Island, Mother Earth, and to the rich indigenous history of Ontario. We recognize that our work takes place on traditional indigenous territories across Ontario. We also wish to acknowledge that CMP head office is located on traditional indigenous territories of Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and most recently, the territory of the Mississauga Credit. This territory is part of the District 1 Spoon Treaty, an agreement between the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and the allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. This territory is also covered by the Upper Canada treaties. We wish to express gratitude to Mother Earth and for the resources we're using, and honor all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people who have been living in the land since time immemorial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to read the French version is Oshoboge, also a high school student and volunteer for multiple NGOs, a young man worthy of emulation, is a role model for his generation. Thank you, Oshoboge. Over to you.
Merci. Dans l'esprit et l'intention des recommandations de la Commission de vérité et réconciliation, nous reconnaissons les territoires autochtones traditionnels sur lesquels nous nous réunions au début de toutes les réunions du CMP. En apprenant, en comprenant et en reconnaissant, nous souhaitons rendre hommage à Turtle Island, Telmer et à la riche histoire autochtone de l'Ontario. Nous reconnaissons que nos travaux se tiennent sur les territoires autochtones traditionnels de l'Ontario. Nous tenons également à souligner que le siège social de CMP est situé sur le territoire autochtone traditionnel des Huron-Wendat, des Haudenosaunee et plus récemment sur les territoires des Mississauga de Imoukhuede. Ce territoire fait partie du traité District 1 Spoon, un accord entre les Anishinaabe, les Haudenosaunee et les nations alliées, et ce pour partager et entretenir pacifiquement les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Ce territoire est également couvert par les traités du Haut-Canada. Nous souhaitons exprimer notre gratitude à la Terre-Mère et pour les ressources que nous utilisons et honorer tous les peuples des Premières Nations, Métis et Inuits qui vivent sur la Terre depuis des temps immémoriaux. Merci.
Merci. Thank you so very much, Ashoboke. So welcome everyone to Council of Nigerian Professionals, a nonprofit in the business of changing lives. Since 2018, we've been connecting people and supporting the ecosystem of the African Caribbean people in Canada. So today we are going to be talking about funding your small business. So you're going to be meeting some experts, subject matter experts in the field. My name again is Adejisola Atiba, Lady Abba. I'm going to be your host. A little bit about me. Been in banking for over 3 decades. I always tell people that banking is my profession, but community is my passion. And so this is what the agenda looks like. We have done the anthem and the land acknowledgement. In a few minutes, I'll be talking to you a little bit about CMP and some upcoming events, and we will showcase our local businesses. A lot of people always say we don't know our businesses, so we will show you some of those businesses that you can actually do business with. And all the businesses you will see today are all on our website. And of course, you'll have the pleasure of hearing our speakers talk about why we're here today. Then we'll have time for Q&A, but if you have any pressing questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A part. And then of course, the closing remarks. Next slide, please. Yes, this is why we're here. These are your guests. These are your speakers, Baba Fafowora, Anthony Igbinovia, Aigbo, Imoukhuede, and Derrick Anim. Next slide. Last week, actually a week ago, we had this presentation, this event. And we had Imanzi Kayitari join us from Procurement Canada. Procurement Canada actually gives out contracts to the tune of $24 billion year over year. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, visit our website and particularly our YouTube channel to learn about how you can be a contractor to the government of Canada. And thank you, JJ, for posting our YouTube channel on the chat. So you can copy it and you'll see all the events I'm going to talk about in that YouTube channel. Next slide. We talked about community collaboration, elevating entrepreneurial mindset. Why do we want to do this? We know that small businesses are the engine of every community. If we don't have small businesses in our communities, how would we be able to employ ourselves? We're going to be at the mercy of other communities. And anything we do may not necessarily impact the economy of the country that we live in. So we want to learn more about that. Again, you will see this in our YouTube channel. Next slide. International Women's Day, we talked about women elevating women. It's important for us to do that. We have so much to offer each other. We had all these people, all these amazing women join us. Again, you can find this on our YouTube channel. Next. Do you know anybody trying to buy their first home? Or are you buying your first home? This is something you don't want to miss. Just, again, check our YouTube channel and you'll find the recording there. There's a lot of germ in our YouTube channel. We believe, again, in sharing information, timely, relevant information. Next slide. It's still tax season. It's still April. For personal, you need to file your taxes before the end of April. And for businesses, depending on your year end, we had experts join us to show us how we can, what we need to know, whether it is personal or business. So again, it is on our YouTube channel. Next. A lot of us leave our country of origin because we want to provide better for our children. You need to understand the Canadian school system. We brought in experts to talk to us about this. You can find this recording also on our YouTube channel. Next slide. So a little bit about CMP. Why did we even start CMP in the first place? A lot of us come in and we're told, well, it's been better, but we're not where we need to be yet. A lot of us come in and we're told, no. You hear no more often than yes. We want a situation where we can at least go for information. And that is exactly why CMP was created, to equip and support people of African heritage towards sustainable growth, development, and prosperity in Canada. We want a situation where we can be role models for our children. We can support our businesses, support individuals, support professionals, know where we are so that we can mentor, sponsor each other. That's the whole idea. You want to learn more about CMP, please visit our website. It is www.cmpngo.ca. And if you want to be a volunteer or you are a subject matter expert and you want to share your insights with the community, please email us at info@cmpngo.ca. All this information that I'm sharing is being posted on the chat as we speak. Next slide. So I already mentioned it, mentoring, building, professional image, changing the narrative about who we are as a community and supporting our local businesses. Next slide. And some of the things that we're doing, we actually started the language school this month. It's 30 minutes every Saturday. Feel free to join, especially for our children. We have Yoruba, English, we have Yoruba, French, Mandarin, and Edo classes. We do coding. The first class already ended. When we start the next one, we'll let you know. We have the Black History Celebration and essay writing competition where we'll be giving scholarships to our children and various other events. Again, to learn more about all our events, please visit our website. Next slide. I already talked about this. These are the languages that we're teaching right now. We're still looking for more languages. If you can speak any of the African languages, please reach out to us. We don't want our languages to go extinct, right? If we don't speak it, our children don't speak it, then who's gonna speak it? So please, let's learn together and continue to build our cultural heritage. Next slide. And this is why we're here today. Next slide. This is happening in 2 weeks. You know, the idea of people celebrating African Caribbean people in February, I feel it's amazing. But the point is you and I are the same day in, day out. And so CMP decided we will be celebrating ourselves because there's an adage in my place that says it is with your mouth that you say what you want. And so we're celebrating ourselves in April. We call it Black History Impact Celebration and essay writing competition. So we'll be celebrating people in our community, doing great things. And also our youth. We gave them essays to write. They've written the essay. We're going to be celebrating them, giving them bursary. The mayor of the town will be there to present them with certificates of participation. And the speakers, oh my goodness, Justice Kobe Barnes is actually a Supreme Court Justice of in Ontario. Efwange Kumba is an engineer in the community, and Miss Christy McIntosh is a leader in our own right. So you want to come in, network with these people. It is a free event, but registration is highly important, and that is the Eventbrite link right there, and I'm sure it will be posted on the chat. We have very limited space. If the space is all done, it will be streamed live. And of course, at the end of the day, it will be on our YouTube channel. Next slide. And yes, we're able to do the Black History Impact Celebration because the government of Canada supported us. So thank you for funding Black History Impact, government of Canada. Next slide. And of course, the event is happening in Milton, Ontario, the Alton region. And so the MP, Adam Vancouver, also placed an advertisement to support the event. Next slide. And yes, we have supporters. You see, CMP is a nonprofit, and so we do need money here and there to make certain payments. So BPTN, I'm sure we all know BPTN, especially people in the tech world, Black people in technology. Royal Bank, they've sponsored and supported our flagship, one of our flagship events that we call Power of Inclusion, at least 2 years in a row. Canadian Race Relations also a sponsor, a supporter of CMP. Next slide. We just saw, like I mentioned, we had Procurement Canada last week. So they are our partners. We meet regularly, at least 4 times a year, to educate ourselves to learn more about Procurement Canada. Windbeam Micro Lending. This is a charitable organization that actually lends money to newcomers to Canada. You know, when we come in, we need to do exams, we need to do certification, and you are told you don't have Canadian experience. They don't deal with Canadian experience. They want you to be able to land and thrive in Canada. So look them up, and you can find them on our website also. They can support you if you're looking for something like that. Early Childhood Development Initiative, they were the ones that came in to talk about understanding the Canadian school system. Again, you can reach out to them individually if you need any services from them. Next slide. And so we're gonna spend about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go over our small businesses. Do you need small businesses in our community? It's important that we support ourselves, support our businesses. There's a book I was introduced to, 13 Ways to Kill a Community. One of the ways to kill a community is not buying in your community. When we buy in our community, the money moves around and round and round. And out of the 13 ways to kill a community, the African Caribbean community are actually doing 9 of those ways. Go figure why we're where we are. But you and I can make that change. We can make that choice to say, I want to do better. I want to support businesses in our community. So please take a listen and see if it's something that, a product or services that you need. JJ, please play the. Thank you so much, JJ. So if you are a small business owner and you want to support your community and for us to do a shout out to you, please reach out to us at info@cmpNGO or reach out to our digital lead at 647-778-0049. Musun. Thank you so much. Next slide. Yes, we're back to why we're here. We had to do what we do because, again, we got to put on our lights and some people have been helping us. So I just want to do a personal shout out to all our small businesses. Thank you for what you're doing in the community. Thank you for supporting CMP and thank you for everything. And we hope and pray that you continue to scale to greater heights. And that's exactly what we're having today. How can you scale? What don't you know? What do you need to know? And so on that note, I will be introducing our speakers in no particular order. So please stop sharing so I can highlight our speakers for us. So thank you again to our speakers. I will spotlight you first, and then I will go in and I'll go in and make the introduction. So the person you're seeing on my screen is Aigbo Imoukhuede. Aigbo is an accomplished senior commercial account manager. He has 10 plus years working in financial services industry. He's experienced in providing financial advice, products, and advisory solutions to small, medium, and mid-term-sized entrepreneurs to help them succeed. He builds strong relationships with customers from diverse backgrounds and obtain results from researching and networking. He's into relationship management, business development, portfolio management, credit analysis, prospecting, financial analysis, sales and marketing, strategic planning, transaction negotiation, and lead generation. That is just a tip of the iceberg of who Aigbo Imoukhuede is. We always talk about networking. Networking does not have to be in person. Write his name down, look him up on LinkedIn, and connect with him. He would not say no. He will be happy to connect with you so that you can continue the conversation from there. So who is the handsome young man that I just added to the screen? His name is Derrick Anim, sorry. Derrick has 13 years experience in credit risk management, project management, policy development, and execution. He's a chartered banker with the record of the youngest to charter or graduate at age 22. Derrick holds an international executive MBA in banking and finance. He is focused, innovative, customer-centric, professional, objective-driven with very high communication and people management skills. Fantastic. Welcome, Derrick. And so let me add another amazing speaker. I'm just giving you a tip of who these people are. So please, again, look them up on LinkedIn. And so the next young man that I had it on the screen, his name is Anthony Igbinovia. Becoming and remaining a trusted strategic advisor to business owners is anchored on the very foundational principle of building a solid relationship, building that bridge of understanding as a prelude to building trust. As a former business owner, Anthony is very passionate about helping his clients grow their business. Born in Nigeria, he went on to spend a large part of his life in Germany, where he studied and started his career. In the course of his diverse professional career, spanning over 15 years in Germany, he has had the opportunity to work with different reputable organizations, including working as a business development manager for one of Nigeria's leading tech-driven transport company, and also as a consultant to German state and federal police force. Currently, he's a relationship manager business market with Royal Bank of Canada. Anthony, I didn't realize that you're also German. So guten Tag. And so to our final speaker, Baba Fafowora. I'll just add him again to the spotlight. And a little bit about Baba. Baba has been, he's always showing up whenever we call him. Thank you, Baba, for always being there for CMP. Baba was his former Web One Tech founder, I don't know what that is, with seasoned corporate banking and development experience. In his role at the Business Development Bank of Canada, BDC, he helps Canadian entrepreneurs to achieve their growth potential by providing advice and flexible financing solution to facilitate commercial real estate transactions, equipment purchases, working capital, and business transactions. What I did not see here, because I know Baba personally, is that he used to work for RBC. So I'm adding that for you. And so on that note, Aigbo, I called you first. I'm going to pass the baton to you. You have up to 15 minutes. If you want to present, you can. But if you just want to talk, what should anybody know? What have you prepared for our business owners here on this during this virtual event? What have you prepared for us? What do we need to know? Over to you.
Okay. Permit me to share my screen right now. Okay, can you see my screen? Hello, can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thumbs up.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy to be here. And thank you to the CMP team for putting this session together. Like they said, my name is Aigbo Imoukhuede, and I work for TD Canada Trust. I work out from the Burlington area in Ontario. And what I do on a daily basis is help customers achieve their goals. That's what I do on a daily basis. I do this by providing the requisite finance of funding and providing other products and services. Okay. So my presentation today. 1 second, please. Permit me, I'm not tech savvy. I'm trying to move you to the next slide now. 1 second, please. Okay, so my presentation will focus more on the theme of the day, which is funding. Okay, and then we'll look at documentation required and security that is required to support this. Before I go into my presentation, I'd just like to make some make about 4 clarifications. Okay, so at TD, because most of the time people ask that what's the difference between a small business banker and the commercial banking customer. So at TD, if your loan or credit application is between 10 and 1.5 million, you're considered a small business client. And anything above that, then you'll be moving to the commercial space. Secondly, for application below 50,000, we regard them as microcredits, and you can go to any of our branches, and request to speak with a business banking specialist, and they'll help you to meet those needs. If you're looking at application above 50,000 to 1.5, you will need to book an appointment with an account manager, someone like myself, who will help you to achieve the goals you're looking at. Lastly, I also know that to a large extent, most business customers will ask, when you request for information, there's always this issue about why you're asking for my personal information. Why not, since the loan request is for the business, right? But in business banking, what we do is we consider both your personal financial records and your business records when reviewing your application. So it is important for anybody in the small business space to understand that your personal financial records and then your business financials will be reviewed when requesting for an application. Okay, so having made that clarification, let's look at the segments that we cover. These are the major segments that we cover. As you can see from the very first one, it has to do with Black entrepreneurs, right? Which is a key focus for us. And if you're trying to acquire a franchise, you're in the professional banking space, you're a doctor. These are the segments that we cover. However, if your business or your sector is not covered, there's no alarm. As long as your credit need is below 1.5 million and your environmental and social risk rating is below 3, we also cover your business under business banking. Now, what should people know? So for the funding part, right? So what I've done today is to divide the funding into short-term funding and long-term funding. So I'll start with the short-term funding. To a large extent, all of the 3 credits listed there are meant to meet your short-term obligations. I'll use scenarios to explain these credits to you. The business credit card, for example, starting with the business credit card, you realize that for a majority of vendors, some vendors will request for business credit card payments only. And so quite a number of business customers will request for the business card so that they can make those payments. I know quite a number of customers in the construction space. They usually have over 50,000 credit card limits because they do a lot of purchases on their credit cards. And so this is one product that they usually request for. We have the business overdraft protection. This product is capped at 10,000. And what it does really is just to prevent that embarrassment where you write out a check and you have a shortfall of about 1,000 or 2,000 in your account, and your check is not honored or bounced, as we usually call it, right? So that's what that product does to a large extent. The business line of credit, it's the one is also to a large extent known as the operating line, okay, and also known as an overdraft to quite a number of people. So you also have scenarios where you have customers that have provided services and they're going to get paid within 45 to 90 days. So while they're out, right, and they've not received funds, so what happens? Because their business has to run, right? So how do they bridge the funding gap? So the business line of credit is the product that we use to cushion that gap so that the customers can continue to run. Now, if you look at the medium to long-term funding, majority of these are loans. So you have the business loan, the business property line of credit, the business mortgage, and then the figures you see at the end are the capped volumes that customers can access under these different lines. The business loan, I mean, is for you to, if you're looking to finance equipment, assets, or capital for business expansion, the business loan will be the right product. For business customers that have business property and are looking to take an equity from the business property, right? So the business property line of credit would be what would be most suitable for that purpose. And of course, if you're looking to buy a business property, you're looking for a business mortgage, we also have the business mortgage product that can achieve that need. And like I said initially, for each line, you can see the amount that is capped. So for the business mortgage, you can't do more than 1 million. For the business property line of credit, you can't do more than 500K. And then for the business loan, you can also do more than 500K. That's except you're looking to secure this with personal property, which in most cases, it really doesn't really all go away for a lot of people. Now, for those three products, business loan, business property line of credit, and the business mortgage, where the customer is looking to apply for above 50,000, like I mentioned initially, you are expected to have been in business for over 2 years. So what that means is that in addition to other documents that will require or other paperwork that will require, you're also meant to provide your financial records in the last 2 years. So that's where the Canadian Small Business Financing Loan, also known as the CSBFL, comes in handy. With the CSBFL, you don't need to have been in business for many years. So the CSBFL can be used by a startup and also can be used by businesses that have been in operation for many years. The limit on the CSBFL also, it's 1 million. The good thing about the CSBFL loan is that you have this loan for up to 10 years. You can repay for up to 10 years. And if you're looking to acquire equipment or assets, we can fund about 90% of the cost of those assets. And if you're in the food industry, you can do 60% of the cost of the business or equipment that you also want to acquire. Okay, so we can talk about what's it called, all the products and all the funding available, but we also need to talk about the requirements, right? Remember that I mentioned earlier on that in business banking, we consider both your personal financial record and your business record. And so to that extent, before we can lend, you need to provide confirmation of your income. And the way to go about this is for you to provide your notice of assessment for the most recent 2 years. We also need your business financial records, usually notice to readers prepared by an accountant. And then we have, you also have to provide your personal statement of assets showing your assets and your liabilities to other financial institutions, if any. All of this information, right? The NOA, the business, financial record, the statement, all of this, what we do with them at the very minimum is to calculate what we call the debt service ratio. So the very first takeoff point for us is that when you submit these documents on your application, we would review to see if you're able to cover, you're able to debt service. What that means is that is all the income from your personal income and your business income, are they able to cover your personal liabilities and financial liabilities? Once you're able to achieve that, and at a ratio of 1.25 to 1, then that is a big step in pushing the application to the next stage. We also expect that you have a personal credit score of 600 and above when putting this application. Now, remember that I mentioned also that for the CSBFL, you don't need to have been in business for many years. It is also applicable for a startup. So for the CSBFL, if you're looking to apply for 50,000 and above, also, we expect that you provide a business plan, and that will include 2 years financial projections for your loan application. Security-wise, these are the security that are applicable to the various types of credit products that we have. So if you have a residential real estate, we could do loans 80% loan to value. Loan to value means that we can give you 80% of the value of your assets as loan. If you have business assets, including account receivables, we can also lend against that. So for account receivables, which is one area that I usually encourage a lot of customers that do have account receivables. So if you have account receivables to the tune of, for example, 200,000, we are able to grant you an operating line of credit using 75% of the account receivables. But in this case, what we'll do, we'll calculate the account receivables over an average of 3 months, and whatever the amount is, we discount that account receivable by 25%. So, for example, if your average account receivables in the last 3 months is about 200,000, we'll discount that by 25%, and we're able to give you an operating line for 150,000. If you also have a commercial real estate, or you're also planning to buy a commercial real estate, we'll expect that you have an equity contribution of 25%, and then the bank will give you a loan of 75%. Personal guarantees are required for all types of loan. And for the CSBFL, you have assets that we're looking to finance. You also have the personal guarantee, but in this case, it's only about 25% and not for the total value of the loan. So at the beginning, when we're looking at the segments, we saw the very first one was the Black entrepreneurs. So in TD, we have the Black Entrepreneur Credit Access Program, and this program supports Black small business entrepreneurs by providing access to capital through the various products I mentioned earlier on, the short-term finance and the long-term funding. For this group also, we have the Black Customer Experience Team supporting the Black small business customers, financial education. The program is available to small business banking customers who self-identify as having over 50% Black-owned business and meet other program, the eligibility of this program. Customers interested in this particular program are required to visit the link below, and what's it called, and initiate their request. For this program, the total lending is capped at 250,000. So that would also include other existing loans, business loans that you have with TD, if available. And then you have up to 12 months of principal repayment deferral, paying interest only on this program. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And if there are questions, let's expect that the audience will just note them down, and we'll take them during the Q&A period. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Lots of information in 15 minutes. Okay, so there's been some questions posted, but please keep the questions coming. We will take it during the Q&A because we do want our speakers to give you different perspectives before we take it off. Baba, because you're not a banker, you're going to speak next. Please go ahead, unmute yourself and show us what you've prepared for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Abba. I'm just going to share my screen, but thanks for the invite to here. I think it's a very laudable initiative. I'm just going to share my screen and give me a head or a thumbs up if you can see it, okay? Okay, perfect. It's a pleasure being part of this event, and thanks a lot for the invite, Lady Abba. Aigbo, very great presentation. Thanks for sharing the insights that you have shared. Just as Lady Abba alluded to, my name is Baba Fafowora. Been in the finance space for roughly around 15 years. I was, prior to joining BDC, I was with the Royal Bank. I started my career as a former entrepreneur. So the point I'm trying to make here is I know what it feels like to be in your shoes as an entrepreneur, and I know what it feels like to get to that position, or when I say, financial freedom, which is you're spending your time doing what you want to do on your business as opposed to what you have to do on your business. And I'm happy to be a resource to help you out in getting there. So before we get into the heart of the presentation, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the Business Development Bank of Canada, BDC. BDC is a Crown corporation. We are the only Canadian bank devoted exclusively to entrepreneurs. We support business owners in all industries with financing, advisory services, and capital to help them get to that next level. We are strictly term loan financiers, so we work in collaboration with the charter bank. We don't work in competition with them. This slide also will give you an idea about just what our reach is. We have more than 2,200 employees and 118 business centers across the country. As Canada's developmental bank, we need to be where entrepreneurs are and provide them with the financing and consulting services they need when they need it. So thanks to our national presence, we are able to reach entrepreneurs in each region of Canada. And currently we support directly and indirectly over 49,000 entrepreneurs across Canada. While we work with business owners every day of the year, we know that Canada has the talent and creativity needed to become a nation of entrepreneurs. But for Canadian entrepreneurs to realize their full potential, I feel like they need to have the tools and resources they need to help them get there. So as Canada's development bank, we know Black entrepreneurs are making a significant contribution to our communities and our economy, yet they still face unique barriers that prevent them from achieving their full potential. BDC is here to help by listening to the needs of Black entrepreneurs, by learning, by working with organizations that serve the Black community, just like CMP, and acting by providing tangible solutions. And just to mention a few, we have some specialized financing solutions tailored towards Black entrepreneur. First, which is the Black Entrepreneur Startup Program, financing of up to 60,000 plus mentorship for entrepreneurs aged 18 to 39, which is led by Futurepreneur, and also the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, which finances up to 250,000 and is led by the Federation of African Canadian Entrepreneurs. So just to delve deep into our content for today, I thought, how can I add value in terms of a resource to leave our audience a bit more informed today. So I just thought, you know what, I think having you getting some tips on how to help your banker finance your business is important to help you out in obtaining financing. Um, we know that entrepreneurs often have an intuitive idea of what will succeed in business, and that intuition comes from years of experience in their business. But we bankers, on the other hand, we will have a more analytical view of your business and its projects. And what we will do is compare your business and its projects with all the other clients we are managing. So, you might have the impression that we are overestimating risk, but it's important to remember that there isn't one way of thinking that is better than the other. These are complementary ways of looking at a business. So as an entrepreneur, you want to understand and respond to the concerns of your banker to present a solid and persuasive loan request. So I'll share 5 easy tips you can use to convince your banker that financing your business and your project is the right choice. And for number one, I think first things first, I need you to ask yourself what your banker wants to know. And for this, you want to answer another question is, are you an acceptable risk? Is your business a project that there's a capacity for the bank to recoup back in investments on you? I think that's something you need to think to yourself, because bankers are just like other business people. Just as, if I was a consumer goods business, I was selling my items to the supermarkets. Bankers also, because our own business is money, we also want to be, sure that wherever we are financing, and while we are always on the lookout for new clients, we want to ensure the clients that we're financing are projected to remain in their business, right? And we also want to make sure we want to minimize our risk. So understanding what your banker wants to know, it is the first point. And to do that, here's what your banker will be looking out for. Number one is your personal and professional profile. I think that's very important. And with that, the banker will look at it that with your profile that you've shared, does you and your team have what it takes to succeed? Do you have the experience and expertise needed to bring this project to fruition? And still on that first point, what is your personal capacity to invest additional funds into the business if needed? This is where your net worth speaks for you, because if you have a strong net worth, that shows that, and when I mean net worth, that means take your assets value minus your liabilities value. Is it a strong number? That shows to your banker that you have the capacity to reinvest back into the business. If knock on wood, something happens, the business is a bit shaky, you being able to reinvest into the business gives you the capacity to keep the business having a long-term horizon. On that second point also, it's also on the viability of your project. What is the expected benefit of your project in terms of what's the return on investment do you expect from this project? What will be the impact on the business if the project isn't completed? Do you have a plan B? Another question you can ask yourself is, where will this project bring you in the next 5 years? How does it fit in as part of your overall strategic plan? I think that's the second point around the viability of the project, because if you're having this ethos around your project, it gives the banker the assurance that, okay, if I'm going to be investing this much into this project, you are able to have the capacity to repay back the loan, right? Because it is a loan at the end of the day. A loan will come with the capacity to repay back the loan. Aside from that, also, there's also an interest cost attached to that. And I think that will take us down to the third point around your financial capacity, which is I'll say it's the most important question to answer when you are looking to finance your project. Because what we do is we have to look if you have the capacity to reimburse your loan and repay back the loan. And that capacity is established by looking at your current financial statements and your financial projections which your current operations. And once that project has been completed, that projections will show us what that benefit of that project is on your bottom line. And I think on this note here, I think it's important to share with our community that making sure there is a paper trail for the money you're making in your business, I can't overestimate how important it is in declaring the revenue that you're making. Because if you're not declaring your revenue and you're not showing that you are making this much money and you're not making this much profit, you are in a way stunting your growth. Because if the bank is not seeing that money in your financial statements, the bank is not going to be able to finance your growth projects, right? So it's important for us. My mom used to always say something, and she used to say in Yoruba, which is, and I can't say it, I lost what it means in Yoruba, but I know she used to say, don't be a penny wise, pound foolish, right? Don't say because I want to make money now forgo some potential that my business can get to if I'm able to declare that number and declare my revenue that I'm making on my business. I think it's important that we also highlight that. And last but not the, and also around the financial capacity also is what is your participation as a shareholder in the risk of this project. So what that means is how much equity do you have in your business and how much are you personally investing in the project. That is something that a banker will want to see to further support your loan request. Finally, on the fourth point, your banker will also want to know about your market in terms of if you want to create a plan that's based on rigorous financial analysis that accounts on the realities of the market and the economic context and landscape. A business plan, I think it's also very important that entrepreneurs utilize business plan as a tool that it is, because it's not only required when you're starting your business, but also even when your business is on a developing track. And what a business plan should include is your description of your business, an overview of your team, your marketing, production, and HR plan, and just as I mentioned, your financial forecast. Number 2 point around the tips is know what you want. I think this is very important because this will help you out in making a decision on the type of banker you want to approach, the amount of money you're asking for, the interest rates, and the flexibility of the repayment, as well as if there's a need for collateral as security. And this will enable you understand the details of the loan. If you know, all right, this is idea of the amount that I need, this project I'm going to be investing the money in, this is when I expect that money to turn around, right? So with that, and this is how much I am projecting I will see at the end of a certain period in time, that will enable you plan better and understand, okay, this market I'm going into, this loan I'm going in, relationship I'm going into, what kind of interest rate will work for me? Because if you are taking a loan that the interest rate is even higher than the profit you're going to see from making that investment, you don't need a soothsayer to tell you that that's a wrong decision you're going to be making, right? Because even if you take the loan, you're going to be under the water because you don't even have enough money to repay back to make the interest cost of that loan. So I think that's number one. Also, the length of the loan, if there's collateral being pledged, and also the repayment flexibility, I think is also very important when taking into consideration the kind of loan you want to approach. On the third step, which is around preparing for your first meeting with your banker, I think it's very important to come prepared. And here are 4 steps you can also help in doing that. Number 1 is look around various lenders. I think we live in a country like Canada that has so much of resources available for our use from a financing standpoint. So you can actually explore the financing terrain to see if there are even account managers that specialize in your industry. It's important for you to even do your search on that. And also number 2 is around ask your business contacts about their experiences and get a referral to someone that they trust. I think it's very important because a referral is often the first step to a positive business relationship. Number 3 point around preparing your first meeting is also defining your clear objectives. You want to know your needs and your limits and make sure to be realistic about your demands. I think it's very important. And I think that ties back to the last point that I made around being ready to have that conversation and knowing what you want in terms of the kind of loan you're looking for in line with your business needs. Also do your homework. Like I said, know your numbers and your ability to repay your loan. Fourth tip is also to keep building the relationship. First of all, loans are rarely granted at the first meeting, right? So I think it's important to have that in our back of our mind. But even if your banker says no, it's always important. You can always find out exactly why your loan approval, your loan application was declined. Even if it was declined, don't discourage. It's also a matter of just improving your proposal. No doesn't mean it's no forever. If it might be no right now, I've had tons of entrepreneurs that initially it was a decline, but I actually would give them insight into why it was declined, and they come around next time. Whatever challenge that I had in building the case, they already solved it, and I was able to get them something on the second try. So I think it's important to also improve your proposal. And even after you've received the loan, if knock on wood, you get an approval, continue building a relationship. Keep your banker in the loop about the latest development in your business. Don't say, "Oh, I got the loan now. I'm just going to go ghost on my banker." No, keep your banker aware of the latest development in your business, because they can still be a great source of advice and contacts. They might suggest additional financing, offer advice on your strategic planning, or even introduce you to key people in the industry and professionals such as accountants and lawyers that could make a big difference in your business. Also invite your banker to your business, at least once a year, so they can meet your key people and understand your operations. Also make sure to submit your financial information on time to show that you are transparent. I believe this can go a long way to ensure you are approved the next time you have a project that you want to finance. Five tip is avoid common mistakes. My final tip is more like a word of caution. It has had to do with common mistakes entrepreneurs make borrowing money. And what are those common mistakes that they make? They borrow late. Maybe they are tempted to finance expansion projects from day-to-day cash flow, but this pushes too much pressure on your business, or borrowing too little, right? You might make a good business sense to keep things low from a cost perspective, but lowballing the cost of a project can leave your business facing a cash crunch when unexpected expenses crop, especially, we are living in a current inflationary environment. So it's important you should borrow enough money to ensure you can cover your project and any unforeseen contingencies. Also, paying your loan back too fast is also something that you want to keep an eye on. Although it's important to reduce debt, but doing so too quickly can cost your business. Even if, for instance, you may leave yourself short of cash, the extra money you're devoting to debt reduction might be better just to spend on profitable growth projects in your business. So just as a recap, these are the 5 tips to help your banker finance your business. Number 1, understand what your banker wants to know. Number 2, know what you want as an entrepreneur. Number 3, prepare your first meeting. Number 4, keep building that relationship. And number 5, avoid common mistakes. If you want to, explore these, some resources more, we do have some very useful articles and tools on our bdc.ca website. You can learn more about what your bankers are expecting from entrepreneurs. We have an ebook there that also will be of value to you. But I hope the tips I have shared will help you out and giving you that confidence in preparing a winning loan request. And I would be happy to answer any of the questions right after my co-panelists are done with their time. Thank you.
Thank you. As we can see, there are lots of information. Please, Aigbo, if you don't mind posting your contact details on the chat, and same with Baba and Derrick and Anthony, so that people can reach out to you, because believe you me, when people ask questions, they may tend to want to personalize it, but I'm sure we won't be able to do that. It would be better to have one-on-one with these people when you do need to talk to them. So Derrick, you're gonna go next. Please share with us what you have. You have 15 minutes so that we'll have time to do Q&A. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Lady Abba. And then thank you, Aigbo and Baba. The two of you going ahead of me makes me feel like I don't even have anything to present. I should say, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And then we close the day. Maybe Anthony will beat me, but I'll apologize. Right. So I would like to speak to a few things and majorly highlight what I have to tell people about what FACE is doing. Thanks, Lady Abba, for letting Baba go ahead of me. Baba already mentioned something about the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, which is being run by FACE, that's Federation of African Canadian Economics. And it's a program that's instituted, supported by the government. And then we are in very deep partnership with BDC to support Black-owned businesses. And it's a project that's been brought up to more like water down the subtle, challenges Black-owned businesses face when they meet the traditional or the universal banks for funding. And again, FACE is also not a competitor to any of the financial institutions. FACE is more of a complement, a support to funding businesses to ensure that the community develops in terms of businesses. So I would speak, I wouldn't present. With regards to, as Baba mentioned, the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund can go up to a maximum of $250,000 for an individual or a single borrower. I'll go into detail and break it down for you to appreciate the obligor limits or the ceilings people can borrow or have access to when they come to FACE. And with FACE's BELP or BELF, all you need to do to be able to access it is to be 18 years minimum, identify as Black, and also be minimum a permanent resident or a Canadian, citizen. And you can only come on board to start having a conversation with FACE for funding if you are a registered business. So it goes into feeding there for Baba's comment on keeping records. You need to register a business. One of the mistakes that people do is they like to do business without keeping records. They like to take cash. They think registering the business, you start to expose yourself to taxation, etc. And quote unquote, their bottom lines or their take home reduces. But you need to formalize your dealings. You need to either be a sole proprietor, you need to be a corporation, you need to be in partnership, either limited or non-limited partnership. The only kind of business that FACE will not be looking at is something like CNP, which is for not for profit. We will embrace you if you're for profit because it's a loan, you're going to pay interest. And again, to what Baba said, if you're not making enough, if your business prospect or whatever business you're putting up there is not making profits or is not giving you some return to repay the interest on any loan facility, then you better not go for it. So we are for profit, making or corporations that are set up to make profit. And now talking about the ceiling or the amount you can assess as a profit-making venture, we finance between $10,000, a minimum of $10,000 Canadian dollars up to 250,000 Canadian dollars. And the beautiful thing is that funding is made available for startups and existing businesses. If you're a startup, you are eligible up to 50,000 Canadian dollars. And if you're an existing business, you are eligible up to 250,000 Canadian dollars. And we partner as well with Alterna and then Van City Micro Lending, microfinance company. So yeah, startup, you are able to enjoy up to 50K. I'll talk about what you need to present, and then you see how it ties in with the other presenters on what we need to look out for in funding our small businesses. So 50K, you should, as a startup, you should have been in business, registered business, operated for 3 months at least. And again, records, if you don't keep records, we cannot know that you have operated for 3 months. You need to show us some evidence, some interim financial statement that shows that you have existed, you have operated. You may not even need to start realizing cash, but if you have accounts receivable, if you have trades that are yet to be paid, you can prove it, you can show us record to know that, yeah, you have already started business. And then as a startup, you also need to have equity. You need to have some capacity, as Baba mentioned. You need to prove that whatever amount you are asking or whatever projects value you are putting up, you should be able to take care of 25% minimum. You know, financiers will not just jump in. They need to know that you believe yourself in the project you're putting up. And in a layman's word, you have some skin in the business to show that you're going to drive, you're going to, whether do or die, you're going to ensure the venture survives, for the financier to get their monies, for you to also grow and continue to impact the community. So that's one bit we need to note. And then if we come to requirements you need to present to be able to assess. I mean, for Face, this is the only product we have. What you need to bring in is to submit a business plan, a very robust business plan that gives details of the business you're presenting, gives us your selling point, makes us appreciate. The business plan should incorporate 3 years projection, meaning we want to see the prospects properly. We want to see how you want to drive those prospects. We want to see the ingredients you're going to put into the business to make sure it survives, it has a solid going concern. Then again, as I mentioned, you need to be registered. So you definitely have to come up with your, submit your business registration document for us to validate your legitimacy. Another thing we would like to see as well is either your T1 or your T4 tax schedule accompanied with the notice of assessment. I mean, we need to be sure that you are showing figures, you are reporting, you are being a good citizen, you're contributing to the growth of the economy. One thing that this T1 thing helps as well is if you're an individual and you have a side hustle, if you looked at the advert, we said if you're a small but big business and you have a side hustle, we'll be doing some assessment. If you heard Aigbo, he mentioned checking your debt service coverage ratio. We would put together your business earning and then your personal earning to see your financial muscle. Your personal income can support you as well. If you have some income coming from your employer and you submit that to us, we add that, calculate to see whether when push comes to shove and the business is facing a bit of headache, we can fall on your personal income to support the repayment. I mean, startups have their headaches, so it's just a backup. So we would also need to get that. So if you have a habit of not filing your taxes, you need to, and you want to come to Face, please quickly get that done. If you're an existing business, we would like to see your financial statement, your income statement, your balance sheet. We want to appreciate your financial muscle. We want to see the business strength. We want to see your revenues. We want to see the trend of the business, if the business has been growing, and if the business is also not growing. Even with that financial statement, we can have a projection, deduce something to see how much you need to scale the business up or take the business to another level. Now, coming to the funds you're coming, FACE is presenting to the market. You have access to these funds that are unsecured. That's the beautiful thing about FACE's Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund. And we do not look at security. So like I said, we are not competing with the banks. If we had Aigbo from TV, he said, we need to talk about your security, collateral. But we will not talk about collateral. It is purely unsecured. It is purely based on a viable business plan. It is purely based on the strength, transactional strength of the business, transactional strength of your plan, and then the strength, your financial strength of the individual, the promoter or the entrepreneur, back again to the T1, and then your personal income. So the funding can also go in for asset acquisition, working capital, and then development of your working space. And one beautiful thing about FACE's funding is that you can access funding up to 60 months with a moratorium on principal. That means when you give you any funding, you have the opportunity to say that, okay, the first 12 months I'm scaling business, I would like you put aside principal repayment so that my cash flows are not going to be suffocated. My cash flows are going to be freed. I can turn over the funds. I can push it back into the business. So you only repay interest for 12 months. So if we're giving you 60 months and then an additional 12 months moratorium on principal, that means automatically you're getting about 72 months of access to funding. So terms around FACE's lending, non-collateralized, flexible repayment, it's an opportunity for the Black community, Black entrepreneurs to take a look at, explore, and then grow businesses, start businesses, and then impact the community positively. Basically, this is what I want to share. Then again, I also want to talk about the fact that FACE's BELF, the BELF product, doesn't encourage you to rush and pay your loans quickly. Like Baba mentioned, one of the don'ts about taking facilities from your bankers, you don't have to rush to repay. You don't need to stifle the running of your business, because cash is king, cash is the blood of the business. Don't be in a haste to take it back to the lender. So what this particular entrepreneurship loan fund does is you can only repay up to 15% of the principal yearly, so that entrepreneurs are not in a rush. We want to ensure that your business grows. We want to ensure your business thrives. We don't want you to jump in, make any knee-jerk actions, and then get the business to suffer at the end of the day. So basically, this is a picture of what FACE does for the Black community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We didn't used to have targeted grants or loans towards Black businesses, but the government soon realized that if everybody is good and everybody is thriving and everybody's doing well, it benefits the overall health of Canadians. And so we thank the government of Canada for, and of course, leaders in the financial world for, coming together and putting something that will support our businesses in the African Caribbean and Black communities. So thank you. We've heard from TD, we've heard from BDC, we've heard from FACE. Now, last but not the least, Anthony Igbinovia, you are on the show. Please talk to us about what you've prepared for our people today.
So thank you so much, Lydia. Can you hear me, everyone? Good? Good. I think like I just speak about what Derrick said. I think the whole panel, the three of them, they've said everything. I can just pack my things and say we're done for the evening because I think they touched on every point that is a really key part for small business. So, but I'll just share my screen despite because I prepared something, of course. Let's take a seat. So, can you see my screen? Good. Good. So I'm talking about some key, giving some key information, but I'm just going to start before talking about the loan part of this conversation. I just want to touch on some point, which includes the business plan, and I think Baba did talk about it briefly. And it's one of the few things that we look at actually when you come to the bank, to the lender, to borrow funds for your business. So I'll start from there. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is always this: you want to start up a business, or you have an existing business, and you want to make sure that you have all the things right before you go to see the banker. So the thing is, you have this brilliant idea, the business idea, which is always great. I think what the bank wants from you now is to put that idea on paper and show us what you can do with it. And so that's why it's very, very important that we have this idea and at the same time put it on paper. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the business structure. I think Derrick did mention briefly about this. So you have the sole proprietorship, you have the partnership, and you have a corporation. These are structure of business that you want to choose from before you register a business. And I'm touching on this part just based on startups, okay? So if you have an existing business as a sole proprietor, you can decide to actually incorporate that business as well. These are all like the structures for in the country of Canada. So when we want to register a business, you can as well go onto the website, Government of Canada, and register your business. But at the same time, there's a product, one of the beyond banking services from RBC, in cooperation with RBC. It's called Owner. As Owner, it's actually a simple to use platform. All you do, you can register your business there. It costs you almost exactly what's going to cost you if you have to register with the government directly. And the good thing with this is this, they're in partnership with RBC. So what happens is when you register with them, you get $300. If you incorporate the company, you get $300 back. And if you have a sole proprietorship, you get $100 back. So it's pretty easy process. So I'm going to cut this presentation short because so that we can leave some time for Q&A. So if you're thinking of registering a business, think about Owner and think about the money you can save if you have a business banking account with RBC as well. So the first part is actually the business plan. It's a very, very important document. I mean, I call the business plan a living document. You want to start up a business, you have an idea, put it down. Now it describes your business, it evaluates your progress as you go. And that's why for me, I call it a living document. And it doesn't have to be just for the startups, it can also be for an existing company as well. And so this also supports your financing request, and very, very important. So you ask yourself a very simple question: what is your industry sector and your target market? These are the things you put down in your business plan. And how do you differentiate yourself from the competitors? Are you a sole proprietorship or a partnership or incorporated business? And is your business already existing or is it a startup? And what's your experience? What's the projected performance as a startup? What's your projected performance in terms of your indicators? For us to understand how the business is going to succeed in a year, in 2 years, or in 3 years. So now I can go quickly into the different kinds of loan that I'm going to speak about today. And I know my colleague from TD talked about the CSBFL. And the CSBFL is a government program. It's actually can go up to $1 million. And I also speak about the RBC Black Entrepreneur Business Loan. So before we jump into the loan, it's very, very important. The key part why some business owners, they get to the bank and they don't get the fund that they are requesting for. And we ask ourselves, how come, what did I do wrong? Beside the business plan, there are a couple of things we look into. And that includes the character. We talked about the 5 C's of business or credit lending. There's the character, the capital, the capacity, the collateral, and the credit history. These are key part of any business owner that we need to understand. We need to understand how your character as a business owner is. We need to understand your net worth. I think we've talked about it on this call before. We need to understand your ability to pay off the loan, your debt servicing. We need to understand it. We need to understand the kind of asset you have, the collaterals, just in case. The real estate, you have a car, you have investment. We need to know all those things. And of course, we need to know the past behavior, your credit records. These are the things that is very key. Depending on the kind of loan you are requesting for, there's a shift on the credit score. Now, if you're applying for the CSBFL, or if you're applying for the Black Entrepreneur Business Loan, these are different shifts in the credit report. And now let's go a bit briefly into the Canadian Small Business Financing Loan, that's the CSBFL. It is for startups and it's also for existing businesses. You can take this money up to $1 million and it can be owner-occupied property to buy property. It can be used for leasehold improvement. It can be used to buy equipment, and there's also a working capital portion of it. And how do you define a small business? It's more a company that has annual revenue around below the 10 million range. So the CSBFL, like I said, could be any part of a structure, sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. And those are eligible to borrow. And then the non-eligible borrowers are the owners where the SIN number starts with a 9. And also if you're into farming, 50% of your revenue comes from farming. What it means is that you can take advantage of other programs, like the Canadian Agricultural Loan Program, and also a trust organization or holding corporation. So we don't finance this under this program because they are not income generating companies, or rather they are not even profiting companies, they are just holding assets. So that's the reason we don't finance this. Under the CSBFL, we got a couple of asset classes. So we have the real property, like I said, it goes up to $1 million of financing. And we have the leasehold improvement. And under the leasehold improvement, we can finance up to 90% LTV. So say, for example, you just at a business location, and you need to have renovation done. And the renovation cost is $900,000. We can finance up to $90,000 for you to fix that place for you to the standard you want it. And also the same thing for equipment, up to 90%, leasehold up to 100%, intangible and working capital. These are actually the new asset class that just came under this program. Prior to last year of July 2022, the intangible and the working capital portion were not included. So the government made a change, and you can borrow up to $150,000 to cover the working capital portion of it. And so these are the, like I said, the maximum loan size is $1 million. And within this $1 million, the amount you can channel towards the equipment and leasehold improvement and the working capital, the maximum is $500,000. So these are a couple of numbers that's been thrown out there, but it's very, very important for us to know exactly which asset class we are financing, what exactly we are buying, what exactly is it for the equipment, or is it for the leasehold improvement, or is it for working capital? When we can make those distinctions, and then the maximum amortization for all the asset classes is about 15 years. So leasehold, like I said, 100%, equipment, 90%, intangibles and working capital, 90%. But the maximum you can borrow under intangibles and working capital is $150,000. So I will take a quick switch then to the other program, the Black Entrepreneur Business Loan. I think the question pops up exactly why are there so many financial institutions, including RBC, which started this program, why are they doing this? And why do they have to have a program specifically for Black entrepreneurs? I think the question is pretty obvious, the answer is pretty clear for most of us here on the panel. And I think as in the Black community, we face a lot of systemic racism and bias in banking. And this is one of the things they want to address. We've had a couple of challenges in terms of meeting our financial obligations. We've had low financing approval rates, and it can go on and on and on. And so this program started in 2021, and under this program, RBC has put aside $100 million to help small businesses that are Black, that identify as Black business owners. And under this program, you can borrow up to $250,000. So there's no age limitations. Applicants will be asked to complete an attestation. All you need to do, send you the link, you fill out the form, 3 questions, and then one of the advisors from the GTR region will reach out to you. So the good thing is that I'm one of the advisors for this program. So when you send online and fill out the form, we have about a couple of us here in GTR that work on this particular program, and I'm one of them. So you can always mention you got to know me through the CNP, and of course we reach out to you, and I'll be then a direct contact for you under this program. And it can also be in partnership, but one of the partners must own at least 50% of the business that identify as Black. And of course, you have to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. So this is just a kind of an overview of the product offering. So like I said before, no age limitations. And it could be for startups or existing businesses. You can borrow up to $250. And within this $250, actually, you can also have access to $25,000 working capital. So which means it's a revolving working capital, $25,000. And you can amortize this loan for up to 10 years. And the first year you can also decide to go for interest-only payment. And of course, it should be deferred. And then you don't have to pay the principal. So just to summarize what I talked about, understanding the importance of a business plan. It's very, like I said, I've been in the community trying to champion this program for some time right now. And we've been back and forth with a couple of business owners in our community. And I can say to you, most of the things, I'm working with so many people right now under this program, and they need to go back and make some fixings and come back. We want to make sure your business plan comes with your projections, your opening balance sheet, your financial statement, all those things, we need them. At the same time, if you're an existing business, we need to add historical data reflecting your financial situation. So these are things we take a look at. And another important part to remember is this, the management of the company is very key. So as a business owner, if it's just yourself doing this, just remember, you can't do all those things alone. Try to spread the love, like I always say, bring in experts on board to help you to navigate this very tough. As a business owner, it can be very demanding at the beginning. So try to work with your bankers, with your lawyers, and also with accountants. These are people that can guide you to make sure you come to the right path and then accelerate your growth. And moving on, I will talk about briefly, we have what they call the beyond banking services. Now we've talked about the loans, which is a great part. This is things we need to kind of improve our business and make sure financing is right. But beside that, what else does the bank offer? So, and I know, of course, most people will be interested to know about free money. But the thing is that the bank is not giving you free money, and it's very rare. But there are so many grants out there. And so for you to start searching for a grant for your business might be very tedious. So there's Grant Match, which also in collaboration with RBC as well. They can help you search for the best grant for your business. All you need to do, go to their website. And if you go under the link with RBC, you can get a bit of perks from them as well. And what it do for you is this: it could be regional grants, it could be municipal grant, it could be federal grants. They can help you seek for the best grant. And of course, their commission is something you have to discuss with them because it's based on how much you've been given. But why not try it out? It's free funds. So try it out and see if you are able to access the funds for your business. Instead of, before switching over to the bank, of course, but think about the free money that can also help you as well. And so these are some of the beyond banking services that we work with. So very strongly, we work with owner, of course, we work with Moneris, ADP, one of our for payroll and human resources. So we work a lot with Grant Match as well, and Futurepreneur. So Futurepreneur is very, very important to RBC. It's a baby project as well. And why we work with them, I know, which I talked about, no age limit under the Black Entrepreneur Program. But under Futurepreneur, there's age limit. It's between 18 to 39. So what that means is this: if you don't qualify, you can switch over to another product. But I can tell you personal experience. I've asked someone come under the Black Entrepreneur Program, and this person didn't qualify for some criteria that couldn't be met. And I refer this client to Futurepreneur as well. So we work in partnership with this program, with all these companies. It's very, very important for you to reach out to the advisors as well. And if they cannot work with you on that one program, they can suggest a second program for you. And like you said, even under the CSBFL and the Black Entrepreneur Program, we can actually combine the both products. And those ones can help you, because the key part is this: we want to make sure you get the best for your money. So if under this BBL, you are going to spend so much on the interest rate, I can suggest a CSBF for you. So that's why it's very important. You can connect with everyone on board, like on the platform right now. In any way we can support you, definitely. You can reach out anytime. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, I think the floor is open for anyone to ask questions to all the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much. Please stop sharing. Thank you. Thank you so much. To Aigbo, if you're not speaking, do you mind muting yourself, please? Thank you, Aigbo. Thank you, Derrick. Thank you, Baba and Anthony. Thank you. Lots of information. Some of the key words I heard, and I don't know what everybody, because we hear things differently. Some of the key words I heard is your personal credit matters. Your personal credit matters. Remember 5 C's, 5 C's. Register your business. Have a business plan. What are your goals? Keep record. What is available out there? The government has got your back. CSBFL. And then, of course, Black Entrepreneur Business Loan. And the last one that Anthony mentioned, beyond banking, apparently you can get some grants. Aren't you happy that you're here to have all this amazing information? And so I saw that while you were all talking, some people were already busy in typing questions for you. So I'm gonna scroll up, and I know that you've already typed, but if you are comfortable and able to unmute and ask your questions, that would be great. So the first question is from Funke. Funke, I don't know if you want to unmute and ask your question. Or do you want me to read it?
No, I'm good. I didn't know how much time we will have, and I didn't want to. This actual topic is very personal to me. I've spoken to you about it before. So when I saw the program topic, I was like, I have to be in this session just so that I can face the people who we should be facing to see whether we can actually have some respite with this, because it is crazy out there. Okay, so my first question is for Aigbo. Excuse the pronunciation if I killed it. I'll personalize it because it is personal to me, like I said. We've actually gone to a number of banks for commercial lending purposes, and there has just been this continual back and forth on it. The long and short of it is, oh, you're self-employed. If I'm running a business, I do have to be self-employed. I cannot be employed working in RBC, working from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and run successfully any form of business. So I'm not sure how, I don't know if it will be a good platform, or maybe it will be a one-on-one, but I don't understand how the matrix will be if you're going to go for a 1 million commercial property loan or request now, and you're self-employed. We all know that being self-employed, you can't be making 100,000 or 200,000 at year 1 or year 2 of your startup. So how does that actually work with expectations for any self-employed that wants to learn that amount of money? And I mean, for the packaging of the loans and all that. I don't know if I've been able to communicate my question properly, but let me read it again to you because I was able to type it properly. I ramble a lot when I'm passionate. Good afternoon. Question 5. What would you need to qualify for the business mortgage or BFL, especially as self-employed individuals with business income, which is always minimum income? You have great credit scores. The business is over 2 years. The business income is over 200K.
Okay. Okay. So majority of the business owners that I know, they also work for themselves and they pay themselves some form of income or the other, right? If you remember during my presentation, I said something. I said the first thing we look at when you provide us those documents is to see if you are able to debt service. And why do we do that? We try to protect you, the customer, and ourselves from the very beginning, because if that business is not able to debt service, then it becomes a challenge for you and also for us in the near future, right? So once you're not able to meet that ratio, then it's going to be a challenge. I mean, there's no need submitting that application because it's going to come back. I mean, you're going to have challenge. It's not going to be approved. But what I can do in this instance, if you can connect privately, let's look at what you have, and then let's see what other solutions that we can recommend. I know that Baba is here with BDC. Personal financial, your personal financial is also important, but they also do a lot as regards what the business income, aspect, especially if you've been in operation for over 2 years. So let me look at what you have, and if I review and I think there's challenges, then we can we'll bounce it with Baba and see how we can be of assistance to you. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Then I had a second question, and this one was for Baba himself with respect to BDC. So over the years, BDC, you apply online with all the links or mails that come in. Okay, you're qualified for this, apply for this or for that. Then it directs you to the bank, and then the bank directs you back to wherever it is that you finally find yourself just being bounced like a ball. Now, eventually you meet someone in BDC that is able to package the transaction for you. And when they want to package it, it comes to, we package for you, and the billing is between 10,000 and 20,000 to package the transaction for you. And that comes out of the facility you are taking. So I'm wondering if that is what the norm is now, or there are actually people that fear God and are doing the right thing in that system.
Okay. Thanks for the question. So I'm trying to understand, the question. So you did apply, if I get it correct, you applied to BDC through our online financing portal. You were passed on to someone, I believe.
No, for my own request, we were passed back to the bank.
That's BDC.
Yes, we're passed back to the bank, and the bank just kind of tossed us through and for, we don't do commercial. The ones that do commercial, we can't offer the BFL for whatever reason. I guess it just has to do with the individual you get to be unfortunate enough to meet with in the bank. But the BDC one, I have 2 friends that got their deals packaged for them through BDC, but they had to pay heavily from it. So my question now is that the norm for BDC now, or is just a factor of who you meet in BDC that this works with? So we know to go to BDC, or we know not to go to BDC.
So the question is regarding the loan, is if there's a fee attached to
Yes.
the loan. So from what I understand, I believe if you are doing financing it through the automated portal, I don't believe there is a loan processing fee payment there. The only part there is a loan processing fee is if you are assigned to someone to actually help you out in doing the loan requests. In that scenario, there is a loan processing fee attached to that, which I believe the amount is not that significant compared to the loan amount, right? So I think it's maybe 0.1% of the loan request that you are actually requesting for. But yeah, but if you are looking for, obviously, I think it's also a very important. There is a personal touch in these kind of loan requests, right? So if you are looking to maybe get some insights into how BDC can help your business from a financing way, happy to be a resource to you. I did post my contact details on the chat, so send me an email. We can connect. If you already have like an application currently ongoing, I can also be a resource just to look into that and see what the status of it, what its status is. Okay.
So
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Funke. I have a quick question. The first question she asked was that she's self-employed, and they kind of expect her to have a pay slip, like a T4. So is the recommendation that when you have a business, you need to pay yourself? Because these are some of the ways to put your, okay, so I see Anthony shaking his head. Do you want to answer that?
I can jump in there for you. Thanks. Yeah. So we have to understand both things, two things here. Are you a startup or an existing business? So when you're a startup, we want to know your capital injection in your business as well. So the skin in the game. And then you don't have to pay yourself, because you can actually take people pay dividends and stuff like that. But you don't have to. You can put it as retained earnings into the business again. So take the money back into the business. So what if you are looking for financing of up to $1 million? So want to know what's the funds going to be used for? Very, very important is the breakdown of the funds to the last dollar. So if you are buying a property, for example, say the property is worth $1 million, and that's a commercial property for your business, and we can finance up to 75% LTV. But we want to know exactly where the 25% is coming from. I want to know the income that is coming from that business. Can it service the loan? And these are the debt service ratio we talk about. And so because when I receive, for example, you want to apply for a loan, I receive documentation from you. The first thing I'm going to do, just like I will mention, is to calculate the rating. So let me know how much you are bringing in, how much can you service this loan? Can you be able to carry the loan, yes or no? We understand if you are buying a property, it's a different thing, because you are buying an asset. But at the same time, you still have a debt on that asset. So the equity is not much yet. So can you service that debt? So you don't have to earn salary, because you might be making money and putting the money back into your business for expansion reasons. So that's the reason you don't have to earn salary.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I see.
Okay, sorry. Lady, I also need to say, so in addition to what you have said, right, your business is different from the owners running, right? There are two different entities. So if you have a business, for the cases that I've dealt with, you need to pay yourself a salary, because that's the only way that you're going to make an income. You have to earn something. So what most people do, that I know, is that they pay themselves some little amount, right? And then they also have dividend that they get at the end of the day. So what makes up your notice of assessment is your personal income that you mix up your notice of assessment. So you need to pay yourself some form of what's it called, salary from your business. Otherwise, where are you going to get the NOA from? That's the thing.
Okay.
So that's exactly the point. So where you are in this case situation, if you're a business owner, the business income, what you have is going to be reflective on your documents, okay, on the T1 general, because you are borrowing the funds under the business. Now we look at the personal side as well. with RBC, I'm speaking now purely for RBC. That's where where under the bank I can speak on it. So within RBC, here, when I request for your document, I request for your T1 general, okay? I request for your notice of assessment. Why am I requesting for notice of assessment? I want to know if you own CRA money, for example. If you are indebted to CRA, then funding becomes really, really limited to you because we can't borrow you money if you are owing the big brother money. And so that's where the conversation switches. So, and if there's no owing on the notice of assessment and your revenue and your growth margin, profit margin looks good on the financial statement, it has to be prepared by CPA. That's another key part I want to say, because in-house, we use compilation engagement. Notice the reader, we try to avoid it for now. So we switched over to compilation engagement since last year or last 2 years. So that's what we use. And it has to be prepared by CPA. So those information, the financial data on that information tells us, on the document, tells us roughly where your business stands in terms of revenue, in terms of gross profit, and of course, in terms of retained earning. Now, if you make $200,000 and you can pay yourself $100,000, fine, so be it. But the problem is this: when you inject the money back into the business, it's a return earning, and it gives the bank more like the assurance to say, this person believes so much in their business. And that's why we work also with retained earning when it's invested back in the business.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the clarification. And so I have a question here that says, is this meant for only businesses in Canada? I think I can answer that. Yes, it is. We're in Canada. Everything we're talking about is all about Canada. There's a question for you, Anthony. Somebody wants to know more about grant match. Maybe you can help us to post the link on the chat so that people can take a look at it. And if they have additional questions, they can reach out to you. Grant match will help you to see if there is any grant out there for your business.
Yeah, exactly. So what it does is the kind of, that's what it does. They just, there are so many grants out there, the government grants. And I know if you have a company, and you're also into a bit of IT in terms of designing a website, there's a government grant called CDAP. That grant can help you up to $15,000 just to design a website, just to help you with your marketing and also online presence. So these are things you can look into as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Please post that website on the chat so that we can take a look at it. I will come to the people that raised their hand, but I just want to quickly go through the questions we already have here. From Catherine, she said, can a student running a registered business apply for a loan or funding? What are you looking out for when checking the personal account? What defines a startup and an existing business? Any one of you can take it.
I can take that. First of all, if you're a student running a registered business, congratulations to you on that. I think that's a very good way of achieving financial freedom, right? Entrepreneurship is the only way you can do that. I believe because you are a student, do you want that responsibility of a loan? I think that's a question you need to ask yourself, right? Because a loan is what it is. At the end of the day, you need to repay back the loan. In addition to that, there is also an interest cost attached to the loan. So that's the conversation you need to ask yourself. The business I mean now, what is that financial performance of the business? Just as Anthony and Aigbo mentioned, based on your tax returns, compilation engagement financials, is there an operations that is able to service the debt and the interest cost? I think that's number one thing. If there is money showing on your profits of your business, is it enough to take on the debt that you want to take on board, right? That's the conversation you need to have. If it's not a profitable business, I would highly advise you to explore grants. I think there are a wide array of grants in Canada especially for young entrepreneurs looking to get funding for their business. I think that's number one. Second question is, what are you looking at when checking the personal account? In terms of that, in my own role, we don't really check personal accounts. I think what we want to look at is your personal capacity in terms of your net worth, in terms of What is your assets? Like, do you own your own house? Do you have a mortgage attached to it? Do you have any other liquid assets attached there? If you deduct your assets minus what you have minus what you owe, is it a strong number? That shows us that you have the capacity to reinvest back into the business if there's need for that, because obviously we want to finance businesses that have a long-term horizon. Third point, what defines a startup and an existing startup? I would, in my own mandate, startups are businesses that have 2 years and less of financial operations. So if you had 2 years or less financial operations, you are defined a startup. Existing business, obviously, if you have 2 years and above of financial performance, you are considered like already, a developing business or obviously an established business, depending on what those numbers are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have 10 minutes to go. So please, the questions maybe just less than 1 minute will be ideal for the answer. And maybe we'll just pack some of the questions and then we'll send it to you and we'll get answers from you. Question for Aigbo. I think you've already answered this. Should a T4 then be issued to the owner of the business? I think you said yes to that. Did you want to add anything to it for 30 seconds?
No, I mean, if the business is incorporated, like I said initially, you have to pay yourself some form of salary. So we don't usually ask for the T4. We ask for, what's it called? Your notice of assessment. And depending on the size of the loan, we also need the T1 to show a breakdown of the income. So it's also important to state here that if your request is micro, what I mean by micro, 50,000 and below, all of this the discussion that we're having, you don't need to get into that. Nobody's going to ask you for what's it called, notice of assessment, if you're looking for a credit of 50,000 and below from the bank.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
A question for Anthony. As a work permit holder, I think we've already answered this. You have to be a PR or citizen, right? To get a loan. Okay, good. I know some people have been raising their hands. I don't want their hands to pain them. So let me call.
No, sorry. You said you don't, if you're not, what's it called? If you're not...
not PR or citizen.
PR, then you have to secure it. In most cases.
You have to secure it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has to be liquid, what's it called? Liquid security, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, so they're gonna need security. You can get a loan, but it has to be secured.
It has to be secured, fully secured,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fully secured. So Olushololani, do you want to please unmute and ask your question?
Hello, good evening. My name is Olushola. It's been a nice time, the little time I've spent with you. My question is, if you have to reintroduce your earnings back into the business to scale, must you pay yourself, especially when you're a startup, just like you said? I'm forwarding the question to Baba. Then the second question is, if you are having a business like myself, I have a business already, a food business in the last 13 years in Nigeria, but we are new here in Canada. We already have traction in the last 2 months that we have started the bakery business. We have other agro products that we are working with the government of Canada to introduce to the market. So how long does it take me to run before I can get a facility?
Sorry, I didn't. Do you mind repeating your first question?
Okay, if you have to reintroduce what you are earning, like your revenue back into the business to scale, right? Like as I'm coming in now, if I have to pay myself from the business, that means from what I've been able to generate, that means the business will not scale. So I won't be able to pay myself as at this stage of the business. You understand? Do I have a place with you? That's the first one.
Okay, great question. I think that's a question you need to probably have a conversation with your accountant regarding what tax strategies you can use to still deduct an income and still be able to show there is revenue going into the business, because obviously there is need for you still have a life that you have to, and expenses that you have to keep up, right? So obviously the ideal scenario would be for you to earning revenue and taking some salary out of there. So I'm not against I'm not against anyone taking a salary for themselves. I'm just preaching the gospel that while you're taking a salary, you need to also be conscious of what is remaining in the business, right? At the end of the day, the number one person, the number one, and I'm not even separate, the number one entity that should take precedence is the business, right? Because if you are taking money to fund your life expenses, the business is going to be cut short
it's
in
not
terms
going
of
to grow. Exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly,
so you
right?
won't be able to pay yourself at this initial stage. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, right? So in that initial stage, you won't have the opportunity of paying yourself as much as you want. But like I said, if the business is growing, you know, I've seen businesses that in the first 2 to 3 years, they were, you know, grossing over $500,000 in sales, right? If, you know, they were serious about the business, right? So we were, you know, that's number one. The second point around if you are a startup, and you know you are looking for financing, we do offer actually finance businesses that have been in operations for less than 2 years. It's just that our risk tolerance is a bit high on that, but that's not saying we don't look at those deals. We do look at them on a case-by-case basis. Quick crash course on the 3 things that make a deal for us. Number one, the business position. Obviously, is there capacity to service the debt? If it's a startup, obviously we look at your business plan. Like I said, what's the financial projections? Number two is around your net worth. Do you have a strong net worth that supports the loan you want to take on board? That shows us that if, knock on wood, something happens to the business, you can reinvest into the business to keep it ongoing. That's number two. Number three, we look at the credit score of the owners of the business, because that shows us that you have good credit usage, right? So if you are a startup, our risk assessment takes us away from looking at the business. We now look at the owners of the business itself, and we are able to usually do like unsecured financing, working capital financing to help them out in their growth projects, right? So happy to you. My details are on the chat. If you do fit that picture, I'll be happy to take a look at it and see how we can help you out.
So I'm just going to quickly, sorry, one second. I'm just going to quickly ask for your indulgence. There seems to be a lot of questions and a few hand raised. I would like to answer, I would like us to at least tackle some of those questions. And so please, if you feel you need to log up by 8 p.m., please go ahead. I hope our speakers will please give us about 15, 20 more minutes just to do a wrap up. Please, 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 and thank you. So Ms. Olushola, just one more question so that we can...
I don't even have a question. I want him to resend his contact because okay. I didn't have it, please.
Okay, no problem. I will repost all the contacts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. But I've seen situations where people actually issue T4s to themselves and then put it back, because we keep talking about skin in the game, and that will be part of the owner's equity in the business. So there's a portion for that. So, whichever which way you walk, I will say at least talk to your accountants so that they will be able to advise you the best way. Actually, this is not a question. This is multiple question. Derrick, I think you should help us take this. My questions are as follows. 1, are there any loans available for students in business or students with startup? I think we answered that already. 2, what is the duration for the loan payback? So if they take a loan, what's the duration for the loan payback?
So then again, it comes back to assessing the policy of the financier. If the financier says this particular product can go up to 60 months, so be it. And then also your ability to repay also plays a role. And then the amount you're asking for. So there are quite a number of dynamics that will be looked at. Again, what you need the funds for will also come to play. Let's say you have a contract for which repayment is supposed to come in 12 months. And then you come to the bank or a financier and you say, oh, give me some funding and then let me come repay over 6 months. Obviously, by the time the facility tenure will be expiring, you wouldn't have received the contract proceeds. Or another thing to be, you come and ask the financier to give you a repayment tenure beyond the 12 months, let's say 24 months. The question will be, okay, so when you receive the payment from your counterparties, that 12 months, what happens? Why would you hold on to the funds and not come pay? So there are quite a number of dynamics that will come in to define the loan tenor. It would not be a stone cast in marble. So yeah.
Thank you very much. So in a nutshell, it depends on the type of loan, the organization giving it to you, and all these things will be reviewed with you when the loan is being given. So another question is this loan taxable?
Is this taxable?
Are loans, any of the loans, are they taxable? What does that even mean? I don't get it. Are you saying tax deduction or what?
No. I'll speak from where I sit. I don't see facilities being granted out taxable, and I haven't come across that in my banking. So I see those analysts shaking their heads. So I believe it's
maybe the question is to be restructured differently.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's important to mention here that I know part of the challenges that quite a number of people have has to do with the equity that is required for them to take on the business. So for that's why the CSBFL, it's what's it called? For me, it's a go-to product, especially when you're new. If you're a startup, you don't have any financials, because what do you need? In addition to the documents that we mentioned, the NOA, if you have what's it called? A projection, a financial plan with a projection, and based on that projection, right, and the documents that you have, once you're able to debt service, it's a good way to go. It does two things for you. First of all, if you are trying to acquire assets or even trying to buy a property, the government to provide the bank with finance. With the backing of the government, will finance 90% of that asset. So the equity that you required at that point is just 10%. You also have 10 years to repay, right? So for me, it's a go-to product if you're new, and even for the existing for established businesses.
Thank you very much. So they do have go-to products if you are a startup, okay? You may not necessarily need all the documents we're talking about. You just need to talk to these people. Look at I will repost all their details, connect with them, email them so that they can deal with your questions mono, or how do they say it? Thank you. Instead of loans, are grants available? We talked about that. Anthony, please do not forget to post that link for grant match so that people can review it and follow up with you if they have questions.
Yes, I'm just trying to log into my office computer and forward it to my private one. I can send it on the chat immediately.
Thank you so very much. From Abiodun, having an income is important in Canada. Business owners should pay themselves salaries monthly, no matter how small. Thank you so much for that, Abiodun. Adeolola Dimeji at Olushola, you can pay yourself and then lend your salary back to the business as shareholder loan for paper to satisfy everybody. See, again, talk to your accountant. They know what your business is about. They can give you all the information you need to ensure that you're doing it right. Tomi Lola, please, what is the leading or lending rate for startups? I think that will depend on the product too. So I don't know, does anybody want to take that? What is the lending rate for startups?
I don't know. I don't know if that kind of rate exists, but I can reference the CSBFL, right? At TD, it's prime plus 3. Prime is 6.7 plus 3, so that's 9.7 right now. So that's for CSBFL, which we support startup. But in terms of is rates applicable to startup for any product, I don't know. I've not heard about that before.
I can jump in there and support you. Yeah, so that's for CSBFL. It's prime plus 3. It's always a government guaranteed program. So prime 6.7, 3%, but don't forget there's an additional 2% for fees that actually also goes to part of preparing the documents and everything, which can be actually incorporated in the loan and be financed altogether. So, and then under the Black Entrepreneur Program, we have prime plus 5, up to the maximum of 5. So prime 6.7, so maximum of 5, 11.7. And of course, the line of credit is always variable, so which means the prime plus a certain amount being suggested by the banks, and it depends on your own financial rating at that time. the prime is 6.7, the bank can give you 2.5 extra, so that will be puts you above 9%. But sometimes they can also give you 6.7 plus 4%. So it depends on your rating at that time. For the loan itself, which is CSPFL, is prime plus 3. The RBC Black Entrepreneur Program is prime plus 5.
Okay, so it depends on the loan. It depends on what they're going to be giving you. And again, credit matters. We keep hearing it. So I'm going to call Catherine. Thank you for raising your hand. So please go ahead on mute and ask your question.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Atiba. I want to thank everyone for beautiful, beautiful information. But so far, so good. It's been information for PRs and citizens, nothing for students that are actually aspiring to grow a business. So I don't know if there is any link or any place that you feel that we should go to as students and look all these things up.
Mommy?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to quickly say something before I pass it to our speakers. If you are a student with and you have a registered business, so imagine if that business is a startup, you will qualify for whatever startups have. They just need to appraise you, appraise your business with all the questions that we've had. If you've been in business for more than 2 years, so being a student and having a business, I really feel, even though there's some intersections, they're kind of different too. So I'm just gonna, that's just my own 2 cents. So maybe Aigbo, you wanna start, and every one of you can take a stab at that question.
Okay, so being a student, and of course you're 18 years of age in Ontario, so the focus here is your business, really. It's not about you being a student, right? And the documents that we require. So there's nothing, I don't know, I've not come across any situation where somebody actually identifies as a student at the point of requesting for a loan. What I see is that people come and say, hey, they have this business and they need this, this funding to take it to the next level. And then we look at the documents that the person has, if the person has been operating for a number of years. So every decision, every review is based on what the person has in terms of personal and business records. So that's my experience.
Thank you. Derrick?
Yeah, I'm inclined to what Aigbo said. I think Baba did justice to that point, some minutes ago. Being a student really has little to do with your business. You can be a student and be having a business that's churning out revenues in the 500Ks and can be well employed, earning over 100K, and have a business that's turning out 10,000. So it's all about the business dynamics, the strength of the business, the muscles of the business, all the indicators, financial indicators we need to see, the equity you put in the business. And then the financier will look at that on those merits, your business plan, how viable it is, and have a discussion with you. If the business is generating enough funds, you can pay the interest rate that's been, so to say, slammed on the loan, and you don't have a conversation. Your business is not going to write an exam, so take the students' bit aside. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Baba, do you want to add to that? And then Anthony.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think being a student, I think that is where the Black Entrepreneurship Startup Program, I think, would benefit you as a student if the loan is still what you are thinking of. It provides financing of up to 60,000 and also mentorship for young entrepreneurs aged 18 to 39. So I highly advise you to take a look at it. I think that definitely will be of benefit to you in addition to whatever grant resources you can also find.
Thank you very much. Anthony?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to echo the same facts my colleagues have said so far. We don't really look at you being a student, but rather you being a business owner. So if at the end you're studying by the side, because you might be doing your undergrad or your postgrad, you're still a student. So we don't consider those things. In terms of your management and skills and also in terms of your experience, we might see it, of course, we might consider that. but it's not a reason for us to decline that application for you. So we are looking more into the fact that you're a business owner, want to see your projections and the business plan and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. So just so you know, if you check the chat, the details of all 4 speakers have been reposted for Baba, Derrick, Aigbo. Anthony, did you post anything for yourself?
Yeah, I did. I was just posting the full address right now.
Okay.
So I'm actually attached to 2 of the branches in our. I live in Mississauga, so I'm attached to 2 branches here, and Dixie Dundas and Port Credit. So that's my location. So anyone, like I said, anyone's need more information on what we've talked about, please feel free to reach out to me.
And the links to the grants, did you put it there?
Yeah, I did it already. It's up. I think someone was there. Yeah, it's up there. So you just have to click the grant. You're going to see the link there is RBC logo on the side. And then when you use that particular link, you got some text because of the fact that it's being incorporated on RBC.
Okay. I don't see it. I don't know if anybody else sees it. That's why I'm
Can you see it?
No, I don't see it.
There's a link. Oh, there's a link.
I don't see your details and I don't see the link. So if you don't mind reposting it. So while you're doing that, I think it's not yet. I don't see it. I still don't see it. I don't know what happened. Did you post it to maybe one individual person?
No.
Okay. So
wait a minute.
Yeah. Okay, Funke, you said you have another question. Let's take your
question. I think I'll just take it up with Aigbo and Baba. I think I'll take it up with them individually, so I don't constitute here.
Okay, so in wrapping up, I just want to give maybe 1 or 2 people that may have any pressing question to ask. Please ask away. Okay, so Aigbo, Derrick, Baba, and Anthony.
I have a question. My question is, do they help anyone? Can you help us package a grant? Like help us in application for the grant?
No, that's what the grant match is meant for, actually. Can you see it now? I just posted it again.
Yes, I've seen the link.
Okay.
Is there any way you help someone to look through the application process?
No, and these are the people, the expert, they have a particular system they use. They will be the one to help you. They can seek for you the best grant, actually. And that's their job. That's what they do.
Sorry, is it a paid service for them?
Yeah, it's based on, even the commission that they get is based on how much you've been granted. So it's something not the relationship manager deals with, but rather the grant expert. So that's what they deal with. If you don't have a grant, you're not paying anything.
So just so you know, CMP is a nonprofit. Everyone here will not give us a loan, but we can get grants. And when people write grants for us, they get paid. So yes, if they write grant for you, you have to pay them, but they will tell you what the percentage is. The first step is click on the link, get to know if there's any grant available for your type of business, and then have a conversation with them. That would be the recommendation I have. Anybody else have any pressing question?
Just to also add to that, in the list of resources available, there is a resource called by the government of Canada called the Business Benefits Finder, where you can filter and search for any programs, relating to your business. So I just posted it up on the group chat. I think in conjunction with the grants match resource that Anthony shared, I think that can also be of value to you. Just expanding your search also to see what other benefits are out there. These benefits are out there. It's just a matter of you just going to go and look for it and putting in the time to go look for it. But it is out there for our use to utilize. I just wanted to add to that.
Thank you so much. And one of the things I'm going to promise here is that when we post this on the YouTube channel, all these 3 links that were provided, we will ensure that they're part of it. So on a final note, thank you all our speakers. We really, really appreciate your time today. It's been very, very informational. And, I want you to give a word or a sentence that, to wrap it up, everything you've said, give a sentence or a word to wrap it up, something, like a keyword that you want people to remember of everything you've said. This is one thing I want you to remember. So Aigbo, I'm going to start with you, Derrick and Baba and Anthony. Catherine raised her hand again. Okay.
Yes, sorry. I'm going to jump in quickly. But this one is for you. So a friend sent me the link to this actual Zoom meeting. How do I get to know, get information about upcoming, meetings like this?
Upcoming events. When is the next one coming up? I'm interested.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so if you don't mind posting your email on the chat, we will reach out to you personally. But for everyone else, please, www.cmpngo.ca, that is our website, to send us email info@cmpngo.ca. But thank you so much for joining. We really, really appreciate having you. So to your one sentence or one word or whatever it is, Aigbo, over to you. What do you want everyone here to take away?
I think for me, it has to do with everything that we've discussed today. Our businesses are at different stages of growth or development, and they are unique or particular challenges. For me, wherever you are right now, there's a solution. It might not be instantly, but down the line, there's a solution. And I'm sure that we can work together to achieve this now or in the near future.
Thank you. I love that. Down the line, there is a solution. See, all four of them are from different places, but you could see that they complement themselves. Down the line, there is a solution. It may not necessarily be now. Maybe they will guide you on the steps to take so that you will be successful. Thank you so much for that, Aigbo. Derrick, over to you.
Thank you so much, Lady Abba. So again, everything we discussed here should be taken up as a holy guided rule. But what I would like to highlight the more on my line of, or in my line of work, that I've seen has been an impediment mostly for Black entrepreneurs to take their business to the next level, mostly is record keeping and formalizing their businesses. It's always something that hits them so hard. You see, they are at the brink of getting to the next level, but that particular element doesn't make them move forward. So let us share the message, tell our people who are doing businesses, formalize the business, try and separate the business from yourself, keep good records so that if you need to speak somewhere, the business can speak without you being present. Again, ask and it shall be given unto you. So if you have anything that's on your thoughts that you want to clarify, kindly reach out. We are happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Formalize your business. Ask and it shall be given. Thank you so very much, Derrick. Baba, over to you.
Thank you, Lady Abba, for the opportunity. And yeah, I think I've also learned some few things from my co-panelists on this panel. So it was great being part of this session. I think one thing that I'll leave you is with a quote by this gentleman, Tony Robbins. He says, ideas are nothing without execution. We've shared a lot of tips and a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do during this call, but if you don't do anything about it and you just let it pass you by, it's just going to be what it is. It's just going to be ideas and messages passing through your ear and coming out the other ear. It will only be something worthwhile if you put execution behind it. And what does that execution look like? I think Derrick mentioned it, putting your paper trail in place, making sure the work that you're putting into your business, something is being shown for it when you're asking for tax returns. It means those kind of tips that we shared with you to explore how you can build a successful business financing request. So all those things, I think putting into place into your business, I think will be very important in making sure we are, like I said, achieving that financial wellness, right? Which is what I preach. And I'm excited for how far entrepreneurship can help our community in getting ahead in this land. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do not just listen, take action. Take action. Thank you so much, Baba. Last but not the least, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lady Abba. I mean, it's great to have such experienced panel here speaking to our community. And but I'll say one thing, I haven't been out there speaking to the Black community a lot, because even during the Black History Month, I can tell you some key things that will pop out is why we very find it difficult getting funding. And I'll go back to my first point, which is understanding your business and putting it out on paper with a business plan. For me, that's a blueprint. I can compare a business owner to an architect or a home builder. You don't build a house without a blueprint, without an architect design. So let your blueprint, your business plan be your design for your business. If it starts where you want to structure your destination. So when I think at the long run, if you can go step by step, you can always go back to check and see and understand I cannot grow myself and accelerate my growth in my business. So the takeaway from this, how successful do you want to be? Because at the end of it all, success is defined by doing the things you love to do and getting paid for it. So if I'm getting paid for my business, I'm successful, I love what I'm doing, and I'll go for it. I'll be passionate about it, and I'll give it my very best. So I'll say it's not an easy journey, but it's not impossible. So keep riding the ride, and of course, you're going to come to the final destination where you want to go. So I wish all the business owners all the best. And if you have any questions, you have great people on the panel, let's reach out to everyone.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Nobody can wish you success. You gotta want that success. It doesn't matter how much we want our community to be successful. We need to really, really drill into it, act on it, ask, do the right thing, and we will get there. On that note, I'm going to say thank you to all our panelists. We really appreciate your time, your skill, your passion to elevate our community. Thank you so very much. And I saw one last question. Is there any of you in Saskatoon? I can answer that. No, sorry, none of them are in Saskatoon, but we can look for professionals in Saskatoon for you, okay? So thank you, Aigbo. Thank you so much, Derrick. Really appreciate you, Baba. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much. Kudos to every one of you. I will just get our digital to share the last slide so that you can see all our social media handles, and you can follow us. To everybody that put their emails on the chat, we will follow up with you personally. So this is our YouTube channel. This is going to go on YouTube very, very soon. So be on the lookout. We have Instagram. Follow us. When you follow us on all this, you will see all the things that we're doing. We have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're very, very active on LinkedIn. Everything that we do is showcased there. And again, that's our email, info@cmpngo.ca. If you want to get our newsletter is a good way to actually see everything that is happening. And of course, if you want to volunteer, please go ahead. Thank you, Adi, for adding your email. We will reach out to you personally. We do have an event coming. You can stop sharing now, JJ. Thank you so much. We have an event coming up in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's not in Saskatoon, it's in Ontario. It is the Black History Impact Celebration and Essay Writing Competition. We talked about it. JJ, if you don't mind showing that flyer, that page for me, Black History Impact and Essay Writing Competition. And also in May, we're starting a boot camp. We call it Understanding, Creating, and Protecting Generational Wealth, where it's going to be a 14-week event starting in May. I believe it's May 13th, and it's going to go through August. It's going to be week over week over week. So this is the event we have in 2 weeks. We call it Black History Impact Celebration and Essay Writing Competition. I talked about this earlier on before we went into the event. You know, the idea of Black history, most of us came from Africa. We don't celebrate Black history in Africa because we're Black every day. But we come to Canada and we know that in February is when Black history is celebrated. And we appreciate it. I'm sure we all appreciate it. A lot of focus is given to our community in February. But there's an adage in our place that says it is with your mouth that you will say what you like and what you do not like. And so we decided at CMP that, yes, we will celebrate everyone in February, but we'll continue to celebrate ourselves. day in, week in, month in, year in. And so we're having our Black History Impact Celebration and essay writing competition in April. What are we doing here? We're going to be celebrating the impact of people of African and Caribbean heritage in Canada. We're going to be celebrating our youth. Our youth have written an essay about heroes and heroines in the community, what they've done and how they've impacted their lives. This is happening in Milton. The mayor of Milton will be giving all participants certificates of participation. And every one of them is going on with a cash prize. And the first to third will get a plaque. So we want to continue to enable our youth to be the very best they can be. And who are they? What grades are these youths? They're from grade 9 to undergrad that wrote this essay. So that is what we're going to be doing on the 29th of April. It is a free event, but registration is important. If you are not able to register, maybe because it's full, it's going to be streamed live. So we will share the streaming link in our upcoming newsletter so that I can learn more about it. I'm a youth, oh. Somebody says I'm a youth, so that's fine. Send your email, we will connect with you so that you'll see all the things that we do in the community. So on that note, I'm gonna say thank you again. Please stop sharing. Thank you again to everyone for staying with us 25 minutes over time. We really, really appreciate it and wish you a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic day. Bye now.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everybody.